Hey guys, welcome back to the, let's say, 10th episode of the Sauceros podcast. This podcast came from, I guess, we wanted to have more girls on, and we also wanted to present the ladies' perspective in social dancing. And in this podcast, we're going to be more focusing on sexual harassment, just having ladies understand how to deal with that, bringing more awareness towards that. And then we're going to be just trying to balance those point of views as us as the leads and then ladies as the follows or however you choose to see it. But yeah, if you ladies can introduce yourselves, they're our teammates. We're all in the same team. That's how we met. But just give us a quick introduction and then we can go from there.
Okay, I'll start first. I'm Christina. I started dancing probably about 2 years ago. Jose actually introduced me to the team that we're all on together, so I'm really grateful for that. And I met Misha here through dancing, and now she's one of my closest friends.
Oh. And I'm Misha. I've been dancing, I guess, since November of last year. And I started dancing socially, and that's where I kind of learned about the Kikandela classes. And that's where I met all these wonderful people. And to Christina's point, a lot of my close friends I've found them through the dance community. So I'm very grateful for that.
Awesome. So starting off, I guess we want to go. Let's start off. So what do you guys want to get out of this podcast? Let's start off with that. Like, what do you guys want to bring to the table for stuff? Like, what's the topic? And like, kind of where did it come from?
I can go first with this one. I think personally for me, I'm a very shy, quiet person, and coming into the dance community as someone who's pretty reserved, I feel like there's a lot of blurred lines between what's acceptable, what's not. And as a woman, you just don't know when lines are being crossed, when boundaries are being disrespected. And so for me personally, I think coming on this podcast as someone who's now, I guess, been in the scene long enough to kind of understand, I just want to raise awareness for more women, especially newer people, so they know like what's acceptable, what's not. They know that they can put their hand up and speak up if situations make them uncomfortable. And that's kind of one of my personal goals by participating in this conversation with you guys.
Yeah, mine is very similar to that. I think just like Misha, I was new to social dancing, and just like any new person you see go into the scene, like immediately gets attacked by all of the people who've been there for a while, especially the guys. And yeah, just raise awareness of that women, like, we can speak up, we can state our boundaries at the beginning of each dance. If you don't like to do sensual bachata, like for me, for example, I'm like, I don't do body rolls and I don't do any dips. So I always state that at the beginning. And I just want the girls to know that like you have other women who've been in the scene who are looking out for you. And like that's me. Whenever I see any type of weird behavior from coming from a dude, like being a predator to some young girl, like I instantly go into protection mode and want to get that girl away from him as soon as possible. So just raise awareness of ladies, like you can say no, and just like the signs of a predator in the dance scene, which there are a lot. And I just want them to start being called out a little bit more so that we can make the dance scene a safe place. And I know that you guys are really big on making that community safe. And like, I'm also really big on that, especially for the girls.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I feel like we're definitely on that. And as a guy, I think it'd be cool to dive into that because I mean, I've seen things, but I haven't experienced things firsthand. And so for the people watching, I think it's important, even new people, especially when it comes to dance, we've talked about before, it's like platonic intimacy, right? Where you get to experience a kind of vulnerability or a sort of intimacy, but it's platonic. It's just friendly. It's like a new way of getting to know people. But because it's so new or because we're not used to it, there are boundaries that get crossed, and there is a lot of like ambiguity when it comes to is this right? Is this not right? Is it me just not knowing how to follow, or is it me just like my like senses are turning on and something's not right? So let's go with that. What was your struggle with what has been your struggle, going into the scene? And then
because personal experiences, kind of like
I think that was
okay.
one of your.
I'll talk for. Want me to go first? Okay, I'll talk from my personal experience first. So I entered the dance scene like 2 months after a major breakup. That's like a lot of people, I feel like, who entered the scene. And I was just getting back out there, trying to get my confidence back up, trying to find something new that I can become like a hobby. And I found dancing at one of the spots here and just got really, really into it, wanted to keep learning and like get better at dancing. But little did I know that I felt like I was being targeted just because I was new. And so, like, one, you receive a lot of attention from guys, which is just normal in the dance scene, and that other hobbies I feel like don't have. So, like, when you're dancing, you're holding people's hands. So you have like physical connection right off the bat. And then you're just like dancing to the music, talking. And like that was fine until it just started being like people would just try too hard on me, like flirting or just like aggressively flirting. And I'm just like, what? Like, I didn't know any better though. So it's like after a while, you start seeing the patterns and the type of people who flirt. And at the time, I would just like laugh it off. And I was like, but they would really make me uncomfortable. So that's why I'm like really, really big advocate on women. Like, we can say something. And yeah, just in my experience, I made quite a lot of mistakes and not knowing. And I feel like I know better now. And I want to help like new girls be like, hey, watch out for so and so, just to protect the girls. But you know, it's to each their own. I can't control anyone's experiences, but if I can like control them from being into or not getting into anything abusive, like I definitely want it to be that situation. So that's why I'm like looking out.
For me, I guess like I mentioned to you guys, I started dancing in November. I actually went with a friend today to, can I say the name? Dave and Buster's. Okay. So I went to Dave and Buster's and I had a lot of fun, and like I wasn't there to date or to meet anyone. I like any fitness related activities, whether it's hiking, Pilates, dance, whatever. I like to have a lot of hobbies, and so I pursued it strictly as a hobby. And I remember when I went there, I thought that all there was to bachata was sensual because that's all I would see and that's all people would dance in this particular venue. And I just always assumed everything was part of a dance. I thought a body roll, okay, that's part of the dance. And I remember this one experience sticks out to me where I was dancing with this individual and we were doing salsa. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the song, he pulls me real close. His hand is a little too low on my back. And I asked him, I was like, are we still doing salsa? He's like, I guess so. And I felt like weird about it. But then I thought, oh, it's part of the dance because I hadn't been to formal classes. I didn't know anyone there. I was there by myself. And then slowly, once I started attending lessons, once I learned that, hey, like bachata isn't all sensual, there's actually traditional, which is the style that I prefer to do and the style that I'm training in. You know, I started to learn that, okay, like that person was just not what he was doing. His encroaching in on my space was not okay. And I was just too ignorant to speak up about it. And then later on, as I started dancing more, a lot of women complained about this behavior from this individual. And I've actually seen women make faces at me while dancing with him. Because again, same thing, hand is a little too low on their back. And just, I want to make sure that, you know, people are aware and they have more exposure than beyond just what people tell you in the social dance scene. And going back to your earlier question about how have you benefited from classes, I think just learning about the different styles, learning that, you know, if you're not comfortable with a certain style, there's something else you could do. Like for me personally, I could learn bachata in a way I was more comfortable rather than, you know, these really slow, intimate micro movements, which I'm not particularly fond of. So yeah, that I'd say one of those has been my experience. And similar to what you said, when you're new, all these guys like bees kind of just swarm to you because you don't know any better. They think you're like, you guys love me, you know, it's literally like bees.
It's true.
Because the new girl doesn't know any better, right?
Yeah.
But then you just learn.
I didn't even know there was a difference, like Misha's experience. I didn't know that. I thought it was just sensual too when I first started, and I didn't know there's whole different types of like other traditional, Dominican, and sensual.
So glad I learned it because now my favorite type of dance is traditional bachata. And I never used to even dance bachata before because I was like, no, I don't do bachata because I thought all there is to it is sensual and I have to like be like this against someone's body to be able to dance it.
And I feel like most of those people doing sensual, if they're like, I don't know if they've even taken a class. They just kind of see it on the dance floor, and like unless you've taken a class, like you know those types of people who know the actual body movement and who are just like really dedicated to becoming really great sensual bachata dancers. Like they're excellent to dance with, and you feel safe dancing with them.
Yeah.
Whereas others, you're just like, ooh. And like I've seen girls make faces on the dance floor like, right next to me, and this guy's like going like this with her, and she's obviously not, and like a younger gal, and he's older. And I was just like, oh, this poor baby girl, she has to go through that, and I just don't like to see it because you probably didn't know any better. Yeah. So
I think, well, that's something that so for us, even the sole fact that there, the awareness that there are different types of dances, and that sensual isn't the only type, because I know something we've heard is sensual is kind of what brought people to the scene in a way, in terms of bachata. Like a lot of people see it
after the attention.
yeah, and it is growing. The style is growing.
Yeah, and there's just like, okay, first of all, Dave & Buster's is a fine establishment. I love that place. So we're not demonizing all the guys out there, but the guys who are acting creepy, yes, they should not be there. And from my experience, just from asking for feedback of their dances, that's how I realized, okay, like that guy's a creep or whatever. Because again, I've pointed out, I would say to these folks, oh, like I like this lead. He's like really good at dancing. And they tell me, yeah, like he's inappropriate or whatever. And that's how I found out about it. But I know it makes regular guys look bad. It's then, if one incident happens, then it just puts, how do I say this? It puts, I guess, the person affected in I don't know how to say this, like a heightened sense of stress and defensiveness.
Yeah, like we're not having fun anymore. We're kind of just more worried about ourselves.
Yeah, then you're worried about yourself. And again, like it goes back to like, the fall's not having fun, then nobody's having fun. It doesn't matter how good you are. So I think that creating a safe space is the first thing. And then it also disrespects bachata sensual, because there's plenty of sensual dancers that, again, like if you don't know the dance and you don't know the context, that it could look very intimate, but there's a way to do it correctly where even if you're super close, like it's not, you can still make the follow feel comfortable. So yeah, the guys who take advantage of those moments, that's like, first of all, that's super cringe and disgusting, but again, it kind of puts a bad name on bachata sensual, because the fact that it's very popular isn't a bad thing, because people like what they like. What brings people to the scene, honestly, I think it's a net positive. It's just how it's like engaged in, like if you don't know how to do it and you like sensual, then you should like take classes or practice with someone and do it right and not be creepy.
And I think that's what ruins the experience for a lot of women, is that they get exposed to it in not the right way, or by someone who's not really as well trained in it, and then they just are like, okay, I don't do that, I don't want to do it. And I know a lot of instructors, especially female instructors, are trying to change that perspective by offering these classes and reaching out to the follows. I know like someone reached out to me being like, here, you're coming to the class, like it's really important for her as an instructor to kind of change this perspective and teach the right technique so everyone can try it and then have a good experience dancing it socially, versus just being too like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do it, like I don't like it off the bat.
We had a follow on previously. I think it was Abby. She was talking about like, okay, like when we make mistakes during social dancing or whatever, it's like you can tell when a guy is like messing up, but he's genuinely trying to do a move or whatever, versus a guy who's like, you can just, women's intuition, you can tell he's like, all right, he's being creepy. Like, there's a big difference in, okay, like I messed up a move, versus like, all right, he's just being inappropriate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that behavior should be honestly zero tolerance. And I hate to say it, there's one guy in particular, maybe we should start talking to the organizers, but just have them keep an eye out for certain individuals, because yeah, they're still around, and I can name a few that they clearly fit the picture of like a predator or whatever. So
yeah, and
that's unfortunate, but yeah.
And well, there was a few things. First thing is, I think understanding that there's like how do I, for the guy that's watching, is like, okay, how do I not come off creepy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, first off, I would say, or what?
No, no.
Listening?
So you mentioned something that sometimes like guys are just kind of like mimicking whatever they see.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like guys, unfortunately, it's not, it is our fault, but then at the same time, it's like we don't know what we don't know. And like I notice it because like I have like all my younger sisters, I have 3 younger sisters, and like there's been times where we have conversations where it's like, oh, like they tell me about their, you know, just them being like a woman, and it's like their experience is something that unfortunately I will never be able to understand, and I will never be able to live it. And you know, that's it's unfortunate, but it's a sad truth. And the thing is that I think I have a lot of blind spots, and I still have a lot of blind spots. And I know when I've had conversations with them, like they tell me like, well, you don't notice this, you don't notice that. And I'm like, no, I don't. And sometimes it sounds really, really fucked up, because it's like, you guys see it and we should be able to see it, but unfortunately we just don't. And it's a sad thing, because unfortunately, like a lot of the issues are created by guys. And then it's even more fucked up for us to be like, well, teach us what our problems are. And it's like, it shouldn't be like that, but it's.
Well, okay, I'll play devil's advocate. Like, I agree with what you're saying, but yeah, in a sense where it's like, okay, so like you said, we don't know what we don't know, but I've told Falls that if you're uncomfortable with like whatever the case, or you just don't want to dance mid-dance, you should feel comfortable to just say no and walk away. Right. Because I've talked to these individuals where they're like, yeah, like, this guy's being creepy, but I finished the dance. Because I'd ask them, like, oh, did you say anything or whatever? And they're like, no, I just want to finish the dance.
Yeah. You
And
can
I was
just
like,
leave
damn,
without
another
saying anything.
3 minutes of creepiness. But no, again, like, it starts with that where, me personally, I haven't had that issue, but if I would just go on, like, you know, set the bar extremely low, then if a woman says no, or whatever you don't like, you should just say.
I guess the premise of the whole like preface to like my question was like, what do you guys think are like blind spots for guys in the dance scene that like sometimes, you know, that we miss, that shouldn't be missed, and that like, you know, bringing them out to like the light, just being able to just call them out as it is, like instead of just kind of like, you know, walking in eggshells around the situation and just not really like pointing out exactly what it is, because
then it makes it awkward for both the leads and the follows.
I would say reading body language is huge. I think when you dance with someone and you're connected, and if you face resistance, I think it's easy to tell, because I know that's what I do. If I like someone's getting too close, I start to tense up, or I like, you know, push for a turn or something to create some distance. So I think just kind of reading the room a little, and when you're connected, just figuring out if someone stiffens up, she's probably uncomfortable. But like to your point, she wants to finish the dance, or if she like, sometimes if what I've done recently is like I asked to go back to a basic. And I'm just like, can we just do the basic? And I find that sometimes helps, you know, because then you just do that and then you finish the song, it's okay, and then you part your ways.
Yeah. And I think it's important not to leave all the responsibility on the woman. Yeah, follow. And you're talking about your sisters, and I have 3 sisters also, so like that's why I'm like very, very protective. It's like when you leave the responsibility on just the follow or the woman to be like, to set the tone, I think anybody who's going into dance should have that respect off the bat, and you shouldn't really be pushing that. And a lot of guys do that when they see someone new. Number one, they'll take advantage of, oh, she doesn't know, like she can speak up, or like maybe she does, you know, can't speak for every woman. But like I prevent that by, if I'm dancing with somebody I don't know, I don't do body rolls and I don't do dips, just because if they try doing that in the middle of it, I'm like, oh no. And then me, like Misha, like I'll lock my arms a little bit if they're bringing me in close and I don't want to be close to them because I don't know them like that. Then yeah, he needs to be able to read the body language and just respect who he's dancing with. And it goes both ways. So it's like all that responsibility shouldn't be left on the follow. Like as leads, you also need to keep an eye out for all of your teammates like us and other women on the dance floor who could be in a situation like that but are too scared to say something, because that is eventually learned through time. And I just really want to prevent any of that stuff from happening. So it's both the shared responsibility for leads and follows to make sure that we're creating a safe space for each other and not just trying everything just because we can, you know. And like some people are there to dance and some people there are are there to try to talk to somebody or find, and that's fine. And just know that like a lot of people there really love dancing and really want to get better at sensual, who you can feel safe with and who you can trust in a dance. And those are like the best people to dance with. But other people, I feel like definitely need to, one, be called out for their behavior and be held accountable for their actions, for creating that weird, awkward dance vibe. And then that girl is like, oh, that guy was weird, I don't trust. And then it's bad for all you guys. Like, I don't know who he is, but will he try that on me? And then like they're gonna think that about every single guy, which is unfortunate for you guys, because I know you guys love dancing too.
Well, for me, like I have no problem talking about anything. When I'm saying like, okay, like when followers should be able to say no or walk away, it's for where you're in like imminent danger or you feel really creepy, because I hate to say it, those creeps will always be creeps, and those are like the last like backstops of like, okay, like if they still infringe, then that's when someone else has to step in and just kick them out. Yeah. In terms of like, okay, educating on guys who are unaware, I think I would like to believe that most guys can read the room, but the guys that don't, though, they're there for the wrong reasons to me.
What a privilege.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's like it's like a woman will come in and instantly be like,
yeah,
exactly. Where are the weirdos? Where are my girls? Where you guys are just like, yeah, let's go dance and have fun. So it's like, that's a nice privilege. Like
it's a reality though.
It is.
Like, yeah, and it's when I always talk to my followers, and I always establish like even a casual like encounter or relationship where I get to know them, and that's where I am aware of these things. Where I just tell them like, if a guy's being creepy, just tell them, hey, I don't want to dance anymore.
Yeah.
Like just lie to them, like tell them you need to go to the restroom. Like you can't say no to that, right? Like anything, just to get away from that person. And then I know like with my female friends, I tell them like, hey, like let me know who's creepy, and then like I'll go tell them, or snitch on them or whatever. Like, yeah, like snitch on them. Yeah, because like to at least stop the behavior. I feel like the guys who do infringe on that dynamic of like, oh, like there's a new follow or whatever, I don't think it's just dance. Like that's their person. You know what I mean? Like in any other setting, they might just do that if they had the opportunity to. I like to think so. So yeah, when I say that about like, oh, just walk away from a dance, like you feel uncomfortable for any reason, just even if it's someone like I think the last Congress. Yeah, I think one of my last dances at LA Traditional, I was dancing with a girl and she asked me to dance. I felt bad. 30 seconds in, it was 4 a.m. and Traditional is so hardcore. My feet were hurting. I told her, look, I'm exhausted. Can I just I want to sit down. I said no to her, and at least I was honest,
Right.
Instead of
that's the best thing, to be honest.
Instead of half-assing a dance, but no, I mean, we all agree here that it boils down to communication in one way or another. Like, if someone's being creepy, just tell them no. And then if a guy's unaware and like he just doesn't know, and he's a good guy, then just like educate him on it. And then that, I like to think guys who go social dancing, they want to get better, or just be there for the social aspect. So we talked about where the guys who like try to go to talk to girls or just don't really care about dance, like they kind of weed themselves out. You could see it. You can even smell it. Where like, okay, like a guy who's just there, who doesn't give a shit about dancing.
Yep.
Like you can just spot him from a mile away, and oh, that person's not gonna be here like next week or whatever. Someone invited him.
And then I feel like their egos get bruised too. Those same people that you're talking about. Yeah. They also, I think, they're not willing to put in the time and energy and effort to get better. But they still want to get all the girls, because at the end of the day, in a social dance scene, someone who dances well gets the most interactions with women. And those guys that you're talking about, they don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like
you
them
come
either.
Pick them out, yeah. They're there for like the validation rather than, we're all there for like, we love dancing. We want to get better.
We want to help each other get better.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense though, because like, how do you get validated? Hopefully it picks up, but like, how do you get validated if you don't know how to dance though? Like, even if you're like an attractive guy or whatever, like.
Because they think it's easy and they'll just figure it out. That's what they think, right? Because they're not putting in the time. They don't go to like the 3 hours of class we have on a Monday night. They don't do any of that,
Super hard.
right? How are you going to get better if you're not putting in the work?
Yeah, I think that's what they find out though.
Yeah. And I think at that point they choose to leave.
Yeah, that's why I do like the community aspect where it's like, okay, like the people who are serious about it, who respect the community to some degree, like there's certain unspoken rules where at least, or boundaries of some sort, you know, to stay in the community. Because if you act like, you know, the guy acts like a total dog, there's no way he's gonna last. Like it's gonna catch up so quick.
On the flip side, I do want to chat about that, but on the other end of the spectrum, like
But you said on the other side, I think.
yeah, so we were talking about the guys who like just go there, you know, for fun and aren't really invested in dancing. But then on the flip side of the spectrum, there's these very experienced, very talented dancers who use their expertise to charm and impress these innocent new girls in the scene because they're so good. And women are easily charmed by a good dancer. And especially if they don't know, because this talented lead will make them feel like they're really good, will compliment them.
Does that really work?
Yeah.
The struggles of being a beginner. I don't know what that's like.
No, so, and you'll see it, like now, like I said, Christina and I have like learned to spot a lot of behaviors, and you know, these people, they'll charm.
Oh, this guy's spicy. Let's build a team.
No, this is the thing, cause that meme where it's like new girl comes in, and then you got the dance instructors. If you wanna,
Oh, that meme. We should post that one.
you can send it to us. Yeah.
We'll post
We'll
that
post it
one.
on the podcast. But
No, we'll post that out
The
later.
little lamb being bitten by
Yeah.
wolves everywhere.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
cause a part of that is like
It's true.
everybody.
So true.
You got the guys that are from the club scene, and then you got the
Club
guys,
scene.
you know, that are
The club
coming in.
promoters,
scene.
the dance instructors,
The dance
The
like,
DJs.
the DJs,
Yeah.
experience. Oh man, yeah, that meme
Experience
was.
dances
yeah.
anyone.
We just pissed off like everyone. Like, we're gonna post everybody.
Yeah.
It's true.
I think this podcast is canceled.
Yeah, we're canceled, but it's okay.
No, but it's like it's
It's there.
not to cut you off. I'll just getting back to it. It's just like the new girl is gonna like it's because they don't know. Also, it's like makes them easy targets.
Yes.
And it's like, all right, let me show her some of these moves, like you know, the go-tos, and then like, bam, like never like that or something.
And they always have like hella charisma too,
Yeah.
because they've been in the scene.
Yeah, and
and
then-
they know what they're doing, and that's
Yeah.
when I'm like, oh, dude, no, please.
Yeah.
I was like,
and
Are these like younger girls? Because
They're younger girls,
Okay,
usually.
Okay, I was about to say.
Yeah.
'cause
I saw
don't
them on
think
the
that
story
works.
last night, and I saw the individual we're both have in mind, and I seen
all these like
homeboy like
Yeah.
with his new targets, and I'm just like,
New
yeah.
target.
I think
I'm
no,
like, if I was there, I would go to her and tell
Yeah.
her.
but and the thing is like, you know, people start off for different reasons. So like
Yeah.
even some girls might go and they want to feel like
Yeah.
And that's fine.
That's
And
true.
fine. Yeah.
But it's also a thing that we should make clear, like, yo, like, this is happening. Like,
Yeah,
guys are using it. Because it's a thing of, like, you go into the scene and it's like, there is a barrier to entry.
Mhm.
So, automatically, there is a status. You know, like, if you're a more experienced person, you're higher on the status. And, like, guys like to leverage that to, like, get the girls that are, like, newer. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. But, where you want to go somewhere else with that? No,
I was just comparing from like the super new people
Oh, I see.
to how very experienced leads can sometimes also take advantage of newer, more, I guess, naive
How often
women.
do you see that in experienced dancers? Because I'm not
I
experienced. I'm
see
trying to like show
Honestly,
that.
I only go to Mark so I'll let you take this one. I feel like I've seen it at this different dance spot, and
Like, is this
the same person
people?
that we had in mind, I saw them dancing, and I was like, I already knew her from this other dance place, so I like afterwards I was like, hey, it looks like you're having a great time. Just want you to know like X, Y, and Z about this certain person. I'm just letting you know so you have awareness. I was like, but whatever you do, it's up to you. It's your choice. But I just want to let you know, like, girl to girl, just so
Are
like.
they,
That's it, that's all I
was
said.
was the lead being creepy, or is he just?
He's not a creepy,
'Cause-
but he's done that with like I've seen him do that with a lot of people before.
Like,
And he'll like specifically dance with them like back to back songs, and I'm just like whoa, like something's going on there.
Bro, and then I remember when I would go, like,
I'm trying to think.
what are you talking about?
Out of here.
Like, no, I remember back, like, when I was social dancing. I know. Back when we were social dancing so much, I would catch that, like, guys just it's the same guy.
It's the same guy.
And it, like, he's like a good looking dude or whatever, but he's like always like new person, just like talking to them, and like.
Oh, that guy.
Sensual.
Alright, I remember.
He's not the only one. There's one that comes to mind. You know?
And the thing is, when you're new, you don't.
Like, see, for us, like, I know for me personally, I have my little roster when I go to bar co-op, everyone in the class, and I have my dances, and I'm happy. Whereas when you're brand new, you don't know anyone, you just go in there, you're like, oh my gosh, like, no one's even dancing with me. So it's an easy target, right? And when you continue to dance with the newbie, you make them feel welcome, you make them feel like they're good, they're special, you kind of elevate them a bit. And that's what these people, when we were talking about the lamb, little innocent lamb, it's like you kind of bring the lamb and you like expose them. And I feel like that's in a way taking advantage, you know, because you know this person doesn't know anyone. You know, not many people are asking her to dance. So you dance with her, you pull all your fancy moves, you make her look really good, feel really good. And that's how you charm her. But like, I feel like sometimes the girls end up getting hurt. And that's what we're trying to like kind of keep an eye out for and warn these girls so they're a little more aware. And that's why I say where it's like, it's not going to be all on the girl. It's you're going to have some people like us who like want to look out for some other girlies, but it's going to be up to, I feel like this is like a men's issue. And you guys can hold each other accountable by either having a side conversation with it or literally just going up to him as a dude and calling him out. I feel like nobody really, like, I'll do that, but I don't want to have to do that by myself. And like, what is it going to do listening to me? Yeah. Like, I feel like a community of men is like very powerful, especially if you guys all come together and to one, keep each other accountable and like uplift each other. And be like, yo, we just want to create a safe dance environment. And I see that you're doing X, Y, and Z. And some of my like teammates, she didn't really appreciate that and didn't like that. They made her feel unsafe. So that's some way that you guys as leads or men can go about the community to make it a safer place by helping us.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, so like, I know, for example, like, I guess when it comes to a guy, you know, using their experience to like, you know, to me that's just like that's just him playing, like, just like flirting or just
A form of it.
Shooting a shot.
It's like him shooting a shot.
Shooting a shot. Like, whether it's like, I don't know, like, okay, for me to be honest, like, when I first joined the scene, like, I didn't care at all. I didn't even care about dancing, so if I liked a girl, I would just straight up talk to her. But that's just for me, and I just see that's how, whether or not the guys, for one thing, I can't speak on them where, okay, are they just strictly dancing for the girls, or is it like a little bit of both? Because I would imagine they enjoy dancing too, but yes, like, for me to like actually speak up and call someone out, if these girls that I know that have experienced being with these guys and it ended up being bad, then I would call them out. But in terms of like just personal relationships, I don't really engage in that where it's like other people's business. But I get what you mean, is in the sense that like you don't want guys to be like predatory.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, okay, like people do date and like meet each other outside of the scene too.
Yeah, so how do you balance that? That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
How do you balance?
Yeah, like, so when it comes to like keeping each other accountable, how would you go about like, because there's like multiple things that I see here. So like the first thing would be, well, talking to a guy, for example, experienced dude, going at the new girl. I think I can't really do anything about that because at the end of the day, like if she catches feelings, and she decides to go,
That's on her.
That's on her, and that's because you know, like I feel like as a girl, you know, like okay, this guy's still he's just trying to hit on me. Now, you know what I mean? Like even if she might be like captured by like his dance moves, like there's enough good dancers to go around. So like, you know, she could have a few good dances throughout the night.
Yeah.
And so
that can't be the only reason she falls for him either.
Yeah.
Like I get like you can be an amazing dancer, but like in terms of taking someone seriously, there has to be more than that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just kind of compartmentalize like who are here just to have a good time, who are here to just meet people, which is also fine, and who are here to just like fool around or whatever, and that does happen. Like, let's not pretend like it doesn't. So it depends on where. For me, it's like if I don't know someone very well, whether it's the lead or the follow, like I can't speak on them because that's very ignorant of me. So,
but if you know that it's the same people and it's a pattern, why wouldn't you say anything?
Well, okay, so.
Well, okay, so say anything about. Because
About like them
I want to do like a
approaching them,
specific. I want to see like a specific situation.
Yeah.
So, for example, if we talk about like the same guy that's always trying to approach girls, that's the new girls. I feel like in that case, if that's the case we're talking about, for me to say something, it'd be more like I just don't feel like it's my place in that end, because for me it's kind of like me going into like stopping a guy from shooting a shot. You know what I mean? Like that's just like that's just like guys being guys. But if I see him, for example, like being weird, being creepy,
like outwardly, like,
and I'll make sure, like, if I see something, outwardly.
Yeah, like let's use our like a female friend of ours. Like if she was like, oh, this guy's like being really creepy, I told him to go away, he's following me. I'm like, all right, like we're gonna jump this dude or whatever. Like we'll talk to him, you know. But if it's a guy shooting a shot and he's known to be like a playboy. Unless he's doing something like egregious where he's like breaking the law or whatever, like it's not really our place to be like, hey, like stop being a player, like stop shooting your shot with these girls or whatever, because you know what I mean?
Here's
It's
the
hard to
situation for you then. So remember the gropey guy I mentioned, whose hands get too
then that's fine.
So if you see that on the dance floor and you see a friend visibly uncomfortable, would you chime in and step in?
Yeah, I would.
Okay,
I would
because that's all we want.
We're just trying to separate, like, okay, if a guy's like actively like infringing on your personal space or whatever, then definitely for sure. Even if it's like verbal, like a guy's being creepy or whatever. But if a guy's like charming, witty, and he's like bagging these girls, then I can't, like, I really can't like say anything, because one, like I'm just there for dancing, and two, unless I know them, the two parties intimately.
I guess at that point, that's where we're kind of like Christina did. She went to the girl who she had a relationship with.
And maybe I wouldn't say that to a stranger.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
For example, if a creepy guy is dancing with one of you two, like I know you guys, I know the type of people that you are, then it's like, and if I see that, it's like, well, I know that you guys aren't down like that. You guys don't want to go.
You guys don't want to go home with that guy. So it's like, it's like okay, I know you guys. I can say something about it, but it's like if it's some girl.
Are you sure about that, bro?
Yeah, you don't know that.
Unless it's Benito, Bad Bunny.
Wow.
I'll do.
Let's get into that. So why would a celebrity but not like a social dancer? So what's the difference?
Sorry, Bad Bunny. It's just.
What if he's a murderer? What if he's a serial killer?
No, let's not have that bad energy right now. He's not.
See how they switch over real quick now.
That's another conversation that we can have too. So you guys are talking about, if he physically at the dance seems like a weirdo and is like touching her. There's a lot of guys who are like manipulative and sneaky about it, who like will use the charm, use the charisma, use the dance moves, very nice. Like presenting wise, has that mask at the dance scene. And once you like hang out somewhere else, later get to know them, they end up being insane. And like those are the people that I am telling people.
Like I get, but in that case, like
because like they don't show it on the dance floor, but like afterwards, and like if you like get to know them outside,
they're like smart
a nightmare. It's actually more scary than dealing with somebody because you don't even know you're getting into it. Someone like a girl comes in innocent, like wants to dance and have a good time, and then gets taken away out of the dance scene by this like manipulative, crazy, narcissistic motherfucker. Like that's even worse than a dude. Yes, a dude groping you on the dance floor is horrible, and like I would not want that to happen. I've seen it happen, but at least they're doing it like up front. Like imagine behind closed doors. Like I could.
Well, like that's where it's like, okay, you can't technically trust anyone, and you should definitely not just, as charming as a person is, you should, especially as a woman. I know they text their girlfriends like, hey, this is where I'm gonna be at. Like, this is my location, whatever. Like no matter how well you get along with someone, you can't fully trust them because you never truly know anyone. And I think that's completely separate. Like, I get what you mean.
But there's a lot of those in the dancing.
Yeah, well, how are we supposed to know? Like, to play devil's advocate, we could all be that person. Like, even the girls. Like you can't truly trust anyone on that level. So I would like to think that I hope dance isn't the end all be all for you to be like enamored by someone and like just totally not to like disregard like your instincts of like danger and like being precautious and all that, you know. So I think that like we all agree on what we're talking about. I'm not disagreeing. It's just if it gets to that point, then you should never go home with someone that you really don't know, no matter how good of a dancer time. Because even then, like like let's say you do like a girl and you are interested as a guy. Like I would imagine you take them on a couple dates first, and like you don't pick them up in the same car. You drive to the location with like, you know, different cars or all that. Like I know we're on a tangent, but yeah, it's in that case you kind of have to be more self-aware than that to just literally fall for like a good dancer.
Yeah. So who has to be more self-aware?
Both people, because guys can get like set up by girls. Like I don't know, depending on the women you mess around with, but yeah.
I was gonna ask like, so how would you? Because I know this is interesting because we have like people that just want to dance and then people that are open to dating, right?
Yeah.
And then that kind of leads to that situation because you wouldn't go outside with some guy unless you're at least interested in him.
Yeah.
Right.
Have like a separate conversation.
Yeah. So then, how would you like approach that? And when it comes to like this guy seems interesting, like. Basically, I'm asking about like dating in the dancing, because then that's kind of where it's going.
Or just like even interaction in general. Okay, I just to try to go back to the original question, like one possible solution that I could come up with, okay, is when you start social dancing and you start talking, mingling with people, naturally you make some friends. I would assume it would suck if you go and you make 0 friends. I don't think that's the case. Yeah, but like. Okay, if it's a community, and then let's just start there, and let's say you get to know people, whether you're close friends or just casual friends or not even friends at all, I think as you get to know people, it's easy to just, let's say, for example, a follow is interested in a lead, and she wants to get to know him. Like, if she asked around other people who know him longer, she could kind of get like a feel of like what type of person he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also because like it is a community,
Yeah.
so
Love yourself.
Like, yeah, and it works both ways. We're like, okay, the drama is there for breakups or hookups or whatever, right? But the flip side is like you can like kind of vet these people too, and that was the point I was trying to make. Like you should vet everybody, like no matter how great. Like you could have a horrible dance with someone, and it could be like an off date, or they're just new, and they end up being someone pretty cool. And then you could have like a great dance and that guy's like a total dog or whatever. So yeah, just vetting people, asking around like, hey, you know this guy or whatever. And
I mean, say something is an important philosophy. I think you see something that seems off, you step in. I think little measures, like, you know, one thing that a lot of my guy friends do that I love and appreciate is they'll always walk me to my car. Yeah. You know, just things like that. Or if I mention that, oh, this person's uncomfortable, guy friends from class will come in or butt in. So just little things like that. I think just this boils down to self-awareness on both sides.
yeah.
And to my earlier point, as a lead, if you notice a woman's kind of like resisting, then don't pull the sensual moves or don't make her uncomfortable. Or someone doesn't want to give you their Instagram, just don't get their Instagram. Recognize that as a sign that she's not interested and walk away, move on.
Yeah.
Like,
You mentioned too, like when guys when leads ask follows to dance, that like you want to dance and they won't take a no for an answer. I've seen that a lot of times it happens, and it's just
The worst.
Yeah, and like I think that helps for I guess women or follows. Just even I like to believe, I think this is the optimistic side of me, even if let's say you have a horrible experience with someone and you just tell a random social dancer, or you tell every single person you run into like, hey, this guy's like being creepy or whatever, I'm sure eventually someone's gonna do something, you know, that you go around telling that. But I guess for me or my female friends, like we're in a, like a huge group. We're like everyone has mutual friends.
Right.
So if you just tell one person, that's just gonna spread around. Just like any rumors, in the scene.
And that's what, like,
Yeah.
for us, we're all comfortable with each other. We're friends, whatever.
Yeah.
But for someone brand new, I hope they listen to this and they realize that you might not know us, but you can feel free to
You
just
could,
go
like,
to
everyone.
someone if a situation makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And you're gonna know yourself, like we once were when we first started dancing, and we knew like nobody.
Yeah,
I don't know
and even
anyone.
if you're uncomfortable and you're, let's say, like, bachata, like, naturally you're, like, closer already in dance. And even salsa, you kind of have to, like, dance close. But for a beginner, if, like, let's say it's just the proximity that, I know for me, starting out to dance, I would dance too far away. And the dance would be really awkward. And it wasn't until, like, I got feedback from followers and instructors, like, hey, you need to dance closer. Like, it's okay. And I'm like, okay, cool. And that's where I came from. But even as a beginner follow, if anything makes you feel uncomfortable, just voicing it to anyone randomly in the social scene, I'm pretty sure they would hear you out. I think most people are much more approachable than we would like to think in our minds. And I think that goes for everybody. So that helps because, again, overwhelmingly, the majority of people there just want to have a good time and just dance and, like, make friends or, like, maybe pursue relationships or whatever. But, like, again, like we said, the few individuals that are creepy, they kind of ruin it for everybody, right? So, but yeah, that's not to demonize the whole community. That's just a small portion where we're just trying to regulate that. Yeah. And on the flip side, like, when a girl's being creepy, depending on a guy, like, I don't feel like I'm ever in danger. Like, oh shit, she's gonna kidnap me. Like. It's not gonna happen.
Well, I was talking to a guy friend who's like, oh, like if a girl like kind of tries to dance close as a guy, he'll just revert to turns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to create business. So it was interesting to actually hear that perspective.
Oh, that's
guys
a
have-
dance move. How does that work? Like, you just, like, do
He's just like, oh, if
an
the girl
outside
tries
turn?
to do body rolls, I just
Yeah,
turn
you just
her,
do, like,
and
a
then
triple
when I
turn and let her
dance
go?
like this to create space.
I don't like being close to anyone in general. It's just like, unless I really know you and, like, we're just, like, having fun, like, like I'll dance with him, and, like, the other day he got me into a freaking cuddle, and I was like, alright, I feel safe.
He feels safe.
I feel good.
Yesterday?
But like, if it's somebody that I don't know, it's just, it makes it so uncomfortable, and it's just, I'd rather just, dance. We're dancing bachata, right? We'll just do a basic and just stay right there, like, open position, instead of having to be close and just, like, kind of dancing, because some people just want to get close, and it's not comfortable, like,
that goes
for both, like, it happens to leads too, like, I happen to feel comfortable with some homegirls just dancing.
Yeah, especially if they're new and I don't know them. I'm like, alright, I'm just gonna give you 4 counts, and then I can, like, redirect this, like, we're going back into open position.
Don't even think about it.
Yeah. No, yeah, it all comes down to communication, really. Like, it's literally, if it's a cry for help, just tell everyone, like, eventually someone's gonna do something, honestly.
Yeah, so it's like communication, reading body
and I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm just saying that's for leads and falls, for anything. Like, if you don't feel comfortable with something, just say something to someone, and I'm pretty sure most people would at least hear you out or help you. Yeah, because overwhelmingly the dance community is, like, very beautiful, and, like, I love almost everyone there.
We talked a lot about, like, a dance connection versus a friendly connection versus a romantic or sexual connection, right? And dance is a very intimate activity. So what do you do, or how do you kind of try to unblur those lines, or what do you look for to read the room a little more and kind of set your boundaries?
Like, during a dance, or just interacting with people?
I'd say during dance.
During a dance?
So the question is kind of like, how do you know
what their intentions are?
What the intention? Okay.
Honestly, I'm I'm so socially unaware that I just dance and just.
So, Will, you're the problem.
I'm the problem. I am.
Yeah.
No, I'm the victim here.
No,
I am the victim. Like, the guys can vouch for me. It's just like crazy stuff happens.
You're asking for it.
I'm asking for it, yeah. But I can't say that about women.
Yeah, if you like didn't feel
Yeah, no, I'm all covered up. I have a jacket on. No, for me, I think it's pretty simple for me, where I just take it as a dance, and if I do genuinely want to get to know someone, then I'll just approach them. But I would never use a dance as, like, damn, like, this is the time. Even if the vibes are there,
That's good.
like, even if we're on the same, let's say,
That surprised me.
Yeah, I know. I know. You are very surprised. When you get to know me, I'm like I'm very instant.
Okay.
No, but
Right.
yeah. So for me, I separate dance versus like the dance is just a dance, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, if I can match that person's energy, fine. If they're too much, then there's ways to like just keep it casual, go back to the basic, and just do that. And women are much more perceptive of like reading the room and all that. But yeah, I separate it. If I like someone or I want to get to know someone or take them out, then that's after the dance, and we can talk about it. But yeah, because for me, dance is an outlet. I don't want the lines blurred because of that. So me, I don't let it get to that point.
That's good.
So that's just for me. I don't know about you guys.
You want me to go?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone? I don't think. I usually don't care about those lines because usually I know my intentions, and like usually when I go to dancing, it's like I'm gonna go dance. I'm just trying to dance. I'm just trying to have a good time. And it's like my intention is just to be just a friendly dancer. Like I don't really want to go out with anybody. I don't want to. That's not my purpose for it. And it's only because like. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Like, there's a lot of drama that happens just because two people got together and then they broke up, and then all of a sudden, like,
Everyone laughs at them.
More sometimes that happens, or like you can't go. This guy's going there, then that means that the girl can go, or the girl's going and the guy can go, or whatever the case may be. But it's like, so I just know that like off the bat, it's like, worst case scenario, like I end up going out with some random girl, and then like. Things don't work out, and all of a sudden I have to be thinking about, crap, is she gonna be there? Or maybe if I don't care, but then that puts her in a situation where it's like she doesn't want to go out because I'm in a certain place. So it's like I already know that when I go out, it's just like regardless of how good a dance can be, it's like I don't care. Like I just want to dance and I just want to have a good time, and like I don't know. I just think that there shouldn't be more to it, and I think for me personally, that's the safest way for me to just have a good time and not really think about. Who am I gonna go home with? Like I don't really want to do that because it sounds too much of a headache that it's not worth it at the end. So I don't know. I
like him.
That's my.
I respect him.
Yeah.
You have a different answer.
I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk your shit. All right, everyone, focus. Go ahead.
No, I think.
I like.
So your guys' answers were kind of like, well, the dance is dance, and we'll leave it at that. And for me, I've always been like very, like I use dance kind of like as a social experiment. So social dancing to me was like I would have my own theories, especially like around dating, and then I would go and like experiment and see like, okay, so that's how I know, and this is how I know that that's not what you're at. You know what I mean? So for me, first off, yeah, I think to keep dance as dance is the primary thing. Like. You have to understand, at least for myself, like you'll learn very quickly that just so you don't come out creepy at all, like don't try to get at somebody while you're dancing. You know what I mean? Like don't.
Like 100%.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day you're already close.
Yeah.
Like you're already getting to know them. So like you'll get to see whether you are interested in them, or if maybe they are interested in you. And you found that out through the dance. Okay, like, well, you're not for sure gonna know until you actually talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you can tell. I feel like you can tell, but at the end of the day, it won't matter if you do tell, because at the end of the day, it just comes to being a mature adult and talking to the person and telling them you're interested or something.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And for me, I used to be afraid of like, oh, what if I like ask the girl out and then she says no, and then we're gonna see each other and we're dancing, and like for me, I think if you're a mature individual, it's just okay, it's cool. Well, we can keep dancing, like, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's not going to take away from both of the things that you guys love just because it didn't work out. It's like, I know I love dancing, and whatever happened with them, they still enjoy dancing too, and we can be mature adults about it and just still do the thing that we love.
Yeah, because I mean, for me, if I like get rejected for a dance, I'm like, I kind of don't want to ever ask this person.
It feels like,
yeah, I'm like the opposite. Like the guy who never says no, I'm like, what are you taking? Because like I kind of need more of that. But for me, like, and just to address the drama thing, I know we joke about it, or at least I do a lot. if you do find mutual interest and values, and you're interested in that person deeper than dance, and you do want to try it out, if things don't work out, it's like any other relationship. Like, you should be mature enough to separate your love, your passion for dance versus like, okay, like I feel like people, they aren't as emotionally regulated where, you know, let's say you do catch feelings or you start dating someone and then you see them after a breakup at a social. Now you don't want to go to that social, even though that you derive so much joy and community and friends and all that. And now you're just dropping everything just because it didn't work out for that one person. Like, that's life. Like, you should be, like you said, mature enough to just acknowledge it, just move on. Like, you don't have to interact with that person, but why would you like give up dance, or why would you like entertain the drama happens if you allow it into your life, really. So that's how I see it.
I also, let me see.
Yeah.
I also want to, just for like people to like, I think for like a guy and like you're interested in a girl, I think for me, I think it's obvious because first off, like going into, you know, usually girls want to get closer. Like they want to get close, they feel comfortable, or like they're smiling and they're like, maybe they're asking you to dance again, or maybe they're asking you about like where you're from and like who you are, because that's actually like, you know, I think that doesn't happen often. Like somebody asking you, oh, where you from?
Ask everyone where they're from.
Yeah. Okay. I know.
Wow.
I know. You should the social one.
Yikes.
But,
I feel unsafe.
I think.
You guys feel unsafe when I ask you where you're from.
No, it's just like that's just what I picked up. You know, I think if a person is and there's times where it's just like, at the end of the day, you just have to ask them to. You know, you just have to ask them like, you know, out on a date or something. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't really. You're not getting known until you know. So
It's all communication. Just be as direct and blunt as you need to be. Just don't beat around the bush and.
Yeah. Just being like direct is the best approach to go if you don't want your feelings get hurt, if you don't want to feel uncomfortable, just speaking up right at the top of anything like, oh, I'm with somebody. Oh, I don't do sensual. I don't do this. That's the best way to prevent anything from happening. And if they don't respect that, that's on them.
Yeah, that's
Shame
on
that person.
Right. And it cuts out all the time that in between, that awkwardness, you know, because just again, like there's people in the scene that they're just there just to meet people, and it's almost beautiful seeing that two of those personalities meet each other and like they leave together. I'm like, look, like it worked out even
Like
for
Jose.
them. Well, I was talking about other people, but yes, good for you. But I'm just saying, like, okay, like when
I thought
you're
you said beautiful relationship, but
oh, well, it's just like, okay, there's people who just go to like, you know.
I'm not.
He's saying.
Like, oh my bad.
Yeah, so like when you see two people are super direct and like there's no BS, just cut to the chase, and you should do that for anything, whether you like someone or you want to hang out or you just want to make friends or anything. You should just be direct, and most people would appreciate more if you just.
Right. And sometimes you have the luxury of doing that, but sometimes when you're at a noisy social where it's song after song and you're quickly dancing, you don't have the time. And I think that's where self-awareness and looking out for your friends comes into play. Because in the middle of a salsa song, you're not having this deep conversation about your intentions, right? Or in the middle of a bachata song, no one's talking, music's too loud. So in those instances, I think self-awareness, reading body language is a lot more important.
Yeah, we're just like, I don't know.
Not everyone does it.
Yeah.
Not everyone does it.
Yeah. I love talking to people. Like, that's mainly that's just for friends. But no, like be self-aware. Like if you just met someone, they're like, hey, you want to get out here and like talk, and like you don't feel comfortable. Like even if you feel comfortable, you should like schedule like a coffee date or something in the morning. Like come on, you just don't be that unaware. Like that's for both parties to be, you know, more aware of their actions. Like for guys, like if I like a girl, whatever, I want to take her out, I'm not just gonna take her to like, you know, a club right after or whatever. Even if it's like even if she wants to, and it was like the first date, I'd take her to like a coffee date or something first. You know, like I'm like overly self-aware in that sense, because I think, okay, like what is it like to be a woman? I have no idea, but how about I just take her out a couple times first and get a feel for things. And then we're gonna go clubbing if she like wants to. But yeah, I think that's where guys need to. If guys just take a little bit more time to just be more precautious, I think it'll be an easier time. But overall, I think most guys either they're pretty self-aware or they're just unaware of like the creepy dudes. So
Just look out for your friends.
yeah, just look out for your friends and like for the new fall, just talk to people. Like someone's gonna hear you out, you know.
Can you guys name some red flags? Because I know we've mentioned like, you know, varying, but even us guys, like now that we've had this conversation, what are some red flags that, you know, they immediately point out somebody that's like taking advantage or is trying to like sneak something in?
Something obvious to you.
Think-
I know for sure if that's like.
If they're very charismatic at first, I feel like that's kind of a red flag.
What if they're
Yeah.
not charismatic?
I feel like then they're just like a normal.
What if like a normal guy? If he has too much riz and it works.
If they're like too much, you're just like, what do you wait? You're like,
Or
you know
charismatic and like, is it convincing wise or they're just trying?
just like everything that they do, I'm just like, that's odd.
That's too much.
It's too much too soon, and like I know what your intention is already if you're like coming.
Oh, like first interaction? You're talking about like first impressions or?
anything like that. It's like, especially like if we do our little dance, we're not talking during the dance, but then I go get some water and he like comes up behind me like, hey, like what's your name again? Oh my God. And then it's just like, it's just like,
Just asking for your name?
yeah,
no chance.
Oh my
It's
God.
like, and then can I get your Instagram? No.
Well, that's fine. I mean, yeah. I mean, usually it ends there, or does it keep going, or?
If, like,
It
If you say
depends
no.
on the person. Like
Depends
they'll
on the
either
person.
shut it down right away, or they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm interested," and like talking to that person. So I think like just too much riz at the beginning.
Too much
Just
riz,
like,
yeah.
What are you doing? What are
Right.
you trying here?
Okay.
Yeah. I think if it comes down to it, guys should just like ask straight up instead of like trying to go the riz angle, you know? So, I don't know. That's just
What's
because I
your-
know.
I guess one thing I wasn't aware of initially was multiple dances with the same person. I didn't know that unspoken rule that if you do more than two, you're there together.
Really?
Dude,
I've heard
I don't know,
it.
that's a yeah. That's
I heard that.
That's
Really?
what we talked about.
And I didn't know, so like when I was new, I didn't know anybody. And so when I would dance with the same person, I was like, hey, I dance really well with him. Like whatever, I keep doing all the dances. And then later, months later, a friend was like, oh, don't you know this rule? I was like, no. I mean,
I don't know it.
I didn't know if I danced more than two dances with you, you're expecting like,
I guess we're together.
I don't know.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I know you said you wanted to.
This is new.
Expand on it more.
You go ahead, Antonio. You were feeling something.
I don't agree with it.
I don't either. I didn't know it till recently.
We were talking to Ross and Jahaira about that, and in Zook and Urban Kids and Kizomba, like they dance like 4 or 5 dances back to back. That
Like
Yeah.
weird in the dances.
yeah, they do. Yeah, and there's a podcast that they talk about it, and then some of their like shortest dances are like 30 minutes. And
So like all that is a dance.
Yeah.
So it's like
One person.
I think it maybe it's not so much like the amount of times that you dance it, but the amount of times you dance it and the intention that you have it. I think that's more. But like because like I mean I've danced with like follows. You mean back to back or just
back,
in the same night?
Back to back, like song after song. That's when I'm like, oh, they're seeing
I've done it both.
I think it just depends on the two people who's dancing, because you can tell like when something is not right, but when it's just two people just having a good time, like there's been times where like I just dance with one person, just 3 songs back to back, just because
it's fun.
the songs are good, the follow that I have,
Good dance
the vibe.
connection.
Yeah, so it's just like really good time, and it's like I'd rather just chill here because I know that like I'm looking around, the other follows, like I don't really, everybody's already dancing with somebody else. Because usually like, I think that when I was dancing with that one person, we were dancing, and then by the time I got into the second dance, we started dancing half of the song. And then I was looking around, I was like, there's nobody else to dance with, so like might as well stay here. And the same thing happened in the third song, so it's like, you know, I think it depends on like more like every scenario kind of has its own story, you know.
Yeah, that's something that's like a good point of conversation, because you know there is an unspoken rule that, you know, in salsa and bachata,
you get multiple.
Dance with the same person, then
You're
okay,
together.
then we're talking like
Yeah.
we're gonna
That is
I'm gonna get the
immature.
number after this.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's how it is. Because that's
That's
when
crazy.
yeah, that's when like you get that idea of like, oh, the person is getting that like that dance high, or you know, it's like they're crushing. You know what I mean? So it is an unspoken rule, and one has to be aware of like, okay.
But a new person has no clue.
Nah, it is a new
unspoken
person.
rule.
Like,
I don't think it should be overruled. Though.
It sucks because sometimes it's stupid and it's dumb.
But also there's a reason why it exists because I think the dynamic with Zouk and Kizomba, like I was speaking to some of the Zuqueros and they were telling me it's kind of that's the dynamic because they like the connection. It's so much connection based. Like that's why. So like they dance multiple songs so they can continue to build that connection. So that by the fourth, fifth song, like they're so connected that they can go off now, like do all this other stuff.
It's a build-up.
Yeah, it's a build-up. But with salsa and bachata, it's kind of more. It's not as connection based. I'd say like you can have a lot of like.
All the
You can
directors
go-
chime in and roast Jose right now.
Yeah, no, and I'm ready. I'm ready for it because I'm not afraid to say it because like I think that.
No, it's just true. I mean,
Like,
it's true.
you could-
Salsa and bachata becomes very flashy all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't even want to do flashy. I just want to fucking do my basic and just keep on doing that and getting
Yeah.
better at it. But yeah, that's a whole other
But
conversation.
what is that? Why is that if you dance to some multiple songs that you're considered together? Because I do that.
I used to do it too until I learned of this rule, and then I became a little more aware. But like I said, with people from class, whatever, I know you guys well, so I don't think that rule applies.
Yeah, that's idiotic.
But when you dance with a new person you've never met, I'm now more conscious of this rule than I was when I first started dancing, because I didn't know until someone told me.
Especially
That's so true.
I'd say I saw it more like at congresses where
Oh, good point.
where the follow would like stand around there like after the dance instead of go directly away like oh she wants to dance again so maybe
Yeah.
so then maybe that could lead to like okay she's like into me or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like it's like a you know and there's ambiguity in that too but yeah that's kind of where I see it and like I was saying I think with salsa and bachata you can just like a song comes in you can just jump in and go flashy or like go hard like right away.
Yeah.
But if it were like that's why it would be kind of like okay why do I need to dance like multiple times if we already had like that you know that peak you know what I mean so that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, and that's not to say because like urban kids and like Zouk, that part of the dancing community, they have their own issues with that because I know that the follows will stand around a lot longer.
Yeah.
Versus at salsa and bachata, you know, because every song you're just rotating, it's like you can have multiple dances and more follows are dancing more.
Yeah.
So it's both things have their
pros and cons.
Pros and cons, yeah.
Yeah.
Both ways of dancing, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and another thing, I mean, this is kind of off topic from the whole thing, but I've experienced it where like I just started like connecting with the person in a salsa dance, for example, and so I did like no turns, like nothing. I was just like doing crossbody leads, like slow things, and I was feeling that connection. So I wouldn't, in that case, like I wouldn't want that rule to come into place and be like, and like the person think that I'm into them or something. But it's like I think it's something of communication where I've caught that now, and I talked to the person. And I was like, hey, we were just like getting started. Do you feel like are you down to like see where it goes?
Yeah.
See if we can go even better, and then they'll let me know. And yeah, I think that'd be a good. It'd be interesting to see, you know, coming into the scene a little bit more, like salsa and bachata.
I feel like everyone has a different interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you didn't know that. Oh, I don't like, or I don't mind dancing back to back.
Yeah, it's also
Like,
weird
saying-
because now that I say it, because like yesterday when we were at a DMB, like I wanted to dance with somebody again because we had danced previously. And I was like, I want to dance with her, but I was like,
Well, she's not gonna say yes because
Yeah, because we already
danced.
Exactly.
It's like
Yeah.
nobody's gonna.
so I guess yeah, it's also like there's like a stigma because of the stigma behind it. It's like oh shit, like well no, I can't do it because like there's that unspoken rule which sucks though.
Like, but when you have the benefit of being friends, like one of my closest friends, Brenton, I'll say his name, we dance really well together, and we'll do like 5 dances in a night or multiple back to back because we're like, okay, we just finished salsa, now we want to do bachata, and I think when you have the luxury of having a close relationship with someone, you can do that. But like again,
You can't do it with that. Like
but with
strangers.
strangers, you just never know, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, this is breaking the rule. Like, is this person gonna
That's the thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you have to like walk that extra on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Or
like.
with friends, she's like waiting for you to talk to her, and you're like.
Oh my god, yeah, that's
I feel like I can see that happening.
Yeah, like yesterday, I think I did that with like at least 3 falls where we danced back to back. But it's just because, like you said, when it's a super packed night and everyone's on the dance floor dancing already, like if we're just in the middle just dancing, I just straight up ask like, hey, like, you want to just dance again? And like they say no, I'm like, cool. Like, but most of the time they say yes, and then yeah.
That
So
sucks too when you're just like looking around. There's like nobody dancing.
yeah, I know. Or like you have to like fight the crowd to like see
running to somebody.
Yeah.
Or like to get to someone, navigate, and then someone else.
And someone the struggles of a league.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I told
Y'all ever like fought a lead?
Fought a lead?
Like you're going to the same girl and like the guy's looking, you're like, oh damn.
yeah.
I don't want to do this. Like I don't want to like. You know what I mean?
I just stick my hand out and then like if I can grab the ball, fine. I'm like.
You're like body the guy. Like,
yeah, shoulder check him. Whoops.
I got this.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's like not a position for you guys too, because you're like, what the fuck do I do? Like, which one do I go with?
I feel like I see it out. I see like out of the corner. I'm not even looking at both of them, and they're coming this way. I'm like, they're coming.
Yeah. They're hungry. Oh my god.
I'm just like looking like just straight
Do
directly.
you bad when you like drag one of them? Like, when
No.
multiple guys like.
I used to.
Really?
If I don't feel like dancing, I just say no. Like that's all I say.
Once someone got mad at me for saying no, when I was legit going home, I had like my fanny pack on. It's like, it's just one dance. They're closing anyway. I was like, but I'm leaving. I'm getting my friends walking me to my car. I'm going. Yeah, that was unpleasant. Yeah, so I was like, it's not personal, but it was personal because I really don't like this individual. But regardless,
That's
I was
aggressive.
leaving.
Right, but it's
Yeah.
still.
That's aggressive.
Yeah. Wait, more another red flag, guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's how the conversation started.
Yeah.
Yeah, that went off.
But I know you
That's
mentioned.
good vibes though.
You mentioned
I think they're just like aggressively
touching,
flirting, and
Okay.
touching, and won't take no for an answer. Like that one person you just talked about. Like that's a cardinal red flag.
That's like common decency. Like you shouldn't be touching anybody like that. Like if it's friends and you come in for a side hug, like that's like good enough. Like I don't see any situation where it's okay to like just grab someone or touch them. So that's like the bar said no. Like let's just
Or
establish
using
that.
dance as an excuse to touch a woman
Yes.
inappropriately. That's the good one.
Yeah, that ties back to what we said earlier.
Yeah, like no game during a dance. I
Yeah.
think don't
Yeah,
there.
that's a great.
Okay,
way
let's
to
do that.
it.
Like game should you leave it
Off the
for
dance
off the dance floor?
Yeah, like you can do that after the dance. Or you're trying to like rizz a girl up, didn't do that, but don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever your kids say nowadays. Like you know, like
Sliding.
listen, like if you're leading, and you're in like close position, hand on the shoulder blade, like not on the waist.
Maybe if it's that partner, then okay.
That's another red flag. Is like they instantly go in for like the lower
The
back
lower
instead
back.
of like up
Yeah.
here.
And
I'm
so I
just
thought
like,
you were about to say like they have a partner and they have to someone else.
They have their hand on some random person's back. No,
No.
dude, that's also no. That's another episode. That's for
That's like
Patreon.
like that. They don't even know.
No, because we were talking about like okay, like you can dance with your partner, however, right?
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, like they go straight for the back, and I was just referencing like, oh, like the people who have partners and dances if they're single. No.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Ooh, too spicy. Okay, cut
No,
this
no,
out.
no,
That's a different
I got. That's another
story.
topic.
Yeah, another topic.
yeah. Or if they're like, let's say for instance, a lot of the places that we dance have bars. And if
Okay.
they're like buying you drinks and they're expecting something out of it, and just like
Okay.
You should never expect it.
So you should just-
do that out of the kindness of your heart.
Yeah. Okay.
For the guys out
it's just
there.
like what are you trying with me? And like I see it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, sure, I want a drink.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Get my drink too.
Another one for
Yeah.
There's so many times where I'll bum off a drink off a friend. She's like, yeah, some random guy got me this. Like, do you want it? I'm like, damn, it could be roofie or I'll take the free drink. Like, what's gonna happen to me?
Yeah.
You know?
Nobody's gonna do it.
Yeah, no one. But yeah, like guys, like just
Okay.
if you want to approach or court a woman, just There's a way to do it. Like keep dance.
Don't
and then-
grope.
Yeah, don't
Groping.
grope. Keep
Right.
dance as dance, and then whatever you choose to do outside of your adult lives, like nobody cares. Like,
Yeah.
Don't
And-
get off the dance floor.
And I will say something though, like when it comes to game on the dance floor, like your game is only like your sauce. Like that's it. Like,
Yeah.
You don't need to go above and beyond and like try to like be like
Or assault a
sexual
person.
or like grabbing and like nah, like your dance speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And let that do that, like it'll work on its own, and then like just leave it at that.
Dance riz.
And then outside of dance, then you can choose. You can
Yeah,
talk
do whatever
about
you
it.
want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Free game.
Yeah.
Because then that messes up like the community and like.
Yeah.
And look out for your girlfriends. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your boyfriend.
And your boyfriend. And all your friends.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay.
Anything else you guys want to say?
Let me see if there's any questions.
Green flags? I don't know. Just out of it. Any
Oh,
green
green
flags?
flags?
And these. Let's do.
I
Okay.
think you guys all exhibit.
Just to like
Yeah,
make
you
it.
guys are the green flags
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
here.
When it comes to dancing.
What about let's just spin it for. Do you see behaviors in female follows or even female leads like that are red flags to you personally? That behavior that you might not
Female leads.
or just females or women like any red flags in their behaviors that you're like, hey, like
There's a time and place for the not to do this.
I haven't honestly ever seen any lady doing anything that the guys do. So I just feel like they don't really go there, but that's just from what I see. I think it's just a really good point to drive home there is for me, when I first joined the dance scene, like I would meet a lot of other guys instead of the girls. And so like once I joined the team, that's when I started meeting more of the girls. And I think when you're in a dance space, I always try to go up to like new girls and like befriend them and just like for them to be like, hey, I'm another girl here for you. I'm not just like another dude talking to you or trying to dance with you. So just making new friendships with other women at the dance spaces just to get them more comfortable. Like, hey, like I invite like people all the time. I'm like, yeah, come dance. We're gonna have a great time, and just making other women feel comfortable with other women too. That's what I'm really big on. Yeah, because I remember when I first started dancing at Dave & Buster, I saw a little group of like 3 girlies, and I like walked by them and I looked at them and I was like, oh, I hope they say hi. They didn't say hi to me, and I was just, and like we all made eye contact. I was like, I guess it was like I was wanting to meet new
damn, that's a
girlfriends.
mean girl scenario.
I know. And I was like, dang. I was like, all right, well, I guess we just go stand off in this little corner. And now, like, I want to be that person where if I see a girl by herself, I'm like, hey, like, what's your name? What brings you out? Oh, this spot is really fun. There's lots of good dancers here from the team. And just, like, speak highly about it because it is so much fun, especially for new people coming in. So
Maybe
It's not a red flag, but maybe just like a friendly suggestion.
for like
yeah.
women in general.
Yeah.
Just like get to know each other.
Because I feel like it's common for girls to know more of the guys in the dance scene than
Yeah.
eventually meet the girls.
Why is that?
It's a dynamic.
It's
bro.
it's just
Like
like
I was dancing with
You're
guys
always dancing
socially.
with yeah.
Until I
Yeah.
joined the team, I didn't know any
Yeah.
girls.
Same.
And joining the team helped me like get to know all the girls better because you just really interact with guys socially once you're done dancing.
Maybe because you dance to them, that's why you don't talk to like the girls.
Yeah, because you're always busy. I guess you're just always dancing and it's so loud. It's not like you often
That's true.
have
Where's the time?
long
place, like,
conversation
right.
with
Yeah.
someone.
Why don't women dance with each other? I
Some
don't know, that's
women-
just a
I've done that
suggestion.
a
I don't
Some
know.
women don't like it.
I'm just
I mean,
don't
I don't know
care.
how to lead.
I don't know.
But like I'll try.
I
I'll
would,
do that.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to lead either. So.
Like I can just do like the side basic as a lead and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to lead, but I'm open to it. Like if woman wants
Yeah.
to practice her leading, I'm more than happy.